Welcome to the Manager Matt podcast show. The show is designed to give you solutions to your day-to-day management and leadership problems. It's hosted by Matthew Haddock, a frontline manager and leader with over 25 years of experience. If you're ready, then let's get on with the show.
Welcome to Manager Matt's podcast show. This week's episode is a bit of a change to the norm. This week we're going to answer a listener's question. That's right, it's the first episode where we're going to take some feedback from you guys and really try to explore a problem that you're having out there. And this week we're going to look at experience, how to get experience as a manager. I'm going to discuss how I think it's best to get yourself in a position to manage and how to increase your job satisfaction and deliver results. So let's get on with the show. First things first, thank you so much for your many questions about Manager Matt's podcast show, and specifically questions about management issues you have sent for me to have a listen and have a look at. I always set this podcast up to help people improve their knowledge and hopefully practices in business that will drive results. So today's episode, I'll examine one of the questions sent in. Remember, any other question, then please send it to me at managermattpodcast@gmail.com. That's managermattpodcast@gmail.com. So I will read out the email sent to me so you can get a context of what the listener was after. It reads as such. Hi Matt, great show, loving the podcast and the knowledge. I was wondering what your thoughts are on how do I get experience as a manager? Many thanks, keep up the good work. How nice, and I haven't paid anyone to do that, so that's a bonus. So what a great question, one that people do struggle with. As I am sure you would agree, managers are made and not born. So it's important to get the right advice, training, experience to become a good manager. But I also think the first question to ask yourself is why? Why am I thinking about a move into management? Do you want the management title? Is it about the money? Is it about the prestige and the badge? Is it just the way you think you should go in a progression of a career? Let's look at them one by one. First thing, the money. The stuff that gets us up to work in the morning. I know people will say that money is not a motivator, but most people work to support their lifestyle. So money gets you through the door in the morning. If not, then it'd be voluntary work, which has as much value in our society as paid work. So yes, there is usually a raise when you go into management. There is usually other perks, such as maybe a bonus, or health insurance, or maybe more holidays. There is also some level of autonomy and flexibility in management. The process of the department should function if the manager is not there. If it doesn't, then you're probably one of the workers and not a manager. But I know a lot of people who don't do management positions and can make some really good money, either using a skill, such as a trade, or even if you're working in a business, through overtime, covering holidays and sickness. So don't think it's a big lift in wages first thing. And looking back in my career, I've actually taken pay cuts to get the right role when I could see there was potential to grow. I have, on the reverse, had people not take promotions or go into management because their short-term needs of a wage outweighed the long-term view of moving to a management position. And you can understand that in some people's situations. Now, one theme with the more money, there'll also be expected more work. They always want the pound of flesh out of a manager. So you won't be clocking in and out on a set time to go. You'll be answering emails and phone calls, normally outside your normal hours, either at night or at weekend. Now, long term, if you move up the structure, wages will increase. But at the start, should you be thinking of a career just because of the money being the main driver? So it's good to have a step back and say, is it about the money in the short term or the career and progression in the long term? So my second point about prestige, the management badge, the keys to the director's boardroom. Yes, you used to get keys to a boardroom for lunches and their own personal toilet. And that's not going back that long. That's probably early 90s. That's not that long ago. Well, naturally, some people will like a title and telling people they're in management. Some companies I've worked for have had some grand titles, such as Director of This or president of that. And if that's the way you're wired, then it might work for you, to have that fancy title. But remember, the work will still need to be done, whatever they call you. So how about the next point? It's the way to progress. Well, it's natural in a hierarchy to look up the ladder for the next move. An operator to a team leader to shift manager to department manager, and so on and so forth. So I can see that. But there is also other ways, like becoming an expert in your field without the stress of going up the management ladder. So before you set yourselves the sight of becoming a management position as a be-all and end-all, think about the points I've mentioned. Now, don't get me wrong. I love management and leading people. It's fulfilling in so many ways. I've done it for 25 years. Can't be that bad. I remember telling my boss when I was 22 that I should be given a chance to run my first shift. Wow, how ballsy was that? Because I knew I could make a difference at work and get them results. And thankfully, he saw potential and gave me a shot, or I probably won't be doing this podcast today. So first look at why you want the job of management before the next part, which is experience in management. So, what I would say to anyone thinking of this management role after we've been through all those points is, what do you enjoy? What makes you jump out of bed in the morning? What gives you that buzz? What do you really love about what you do now and you think you could love about doing management? Then look at your strengths. Start from the strengths. I mentioned that before. Do you like people? I hope so. Do you like the data that goes with it? Maybe. Do you know how to keep calm, but also bring a passion? And do you think you can deliver results? Do you think under that pressure you could still deliver? So if the answer is yes, and after all that, you've set your sights on a management role, how do you do that? If you're in a role already, then you probably want to move up in that organisation. I would advise you to show people how good you are at doing your job from the start. I can teach anyone any teachable skill if they bring passion, excitement and enthusiasm. I also look for people who bring ideas to improve the business or department around them. So try and get involved in other projects or groups outside your normal role. This gets your face noticed and shows you're not a one-trick pony. I'm not sure how many tricks ponies can do, but that's beside the point. I've seen upcoming managers outside my directs with talent when they've been in a different environment, such as a committee, a group outside the normal area, set up, usually by HR, to do something different. You then spot them as talent and see them as something more than what you might have seen them before. Also, if you do have a personal development process in your company, get on the front foot and show your boss you're ready for the next role. Ask to sit in on a higher level meeting or a call to get the feel for it. Push yourself forward. Remember, it's your career and your development, not your company's. How many times have I heard people complaining that the company has overlooked them or not considered them for the next level, when that same person didn't push the agenda themselves? Come on, it's not going to arrive on a silver plate. You've got to put the effort in to get the effort out. Another great way is to get a mentor to help you develop within the company. Now, a mentor is out of your direct chain of command, but will help you get advice and guidance that you might need to grow within the company. And he'll also get you noticed. Another way I've worked on is to get your boss to be your biggest fan and advocate. If you can show him you've got the skills to make that next move up, then he will see you as talent and sell you to other parts of the business. But sometimes we also have to face that it's time to move on and be successful with another business. You can go as far as you can, but sometimes you'll never be able to make the change needed to make the jump within the time frame that you're working to. I had to leave my first company after 14 great years because I felt I was still being seen as the apprentice and overlooked and not really seen as a talent to drive the business forward. At that point, I made a massive decision to leave that safe harbour and move on. But looking back, it's the best thing I ever did. Scary as hell at the time, but the best thing I did. Now, if you're starting out from fresh and you're not even in a company, but you want to go into management, that can be quite difficult because you won't have the experience that you probably need to get that position that you really want. Now, you can apply for those roles when they come up and obviously try your best if you're a young manager to use the experience you've got to say that you're ready for that jump into management. But it can be difficult for the hiring manager because they don't know you. You haven't got the background that you might have if you worked there. So one way to play a longer game is to get a role in a business you think works best for you and then look at an internal move up. So go to a company that you feel's got a really, really good background and then try to move up. I mean, my first move into management came from being an engineer and finding I had nowhere else to go within the business. So I moved into production because I felt that that was a really good career move for me. And as I mentioned earlier, it worked really well. If you're starting out with no job, looking at ways to fill your CV with experience, a good thing is to look at things like volunteer work, weekend work, part-time jobs that show you've got enthusiasm to work and have potential, if you get that role, to be promoted. So you're going in with an idea of, this isn't the perfect role for me, but it's a role I'm going to work towards being better and move forward. Very hard to do, very long game, but obviously doable if you've got the right mindset and your patience to play that long game. Now, one area I've not mentioned is getting external qualifications in management. Having a qualification is great. I love to study and then apply what I've learnt back in the workplace. But qualifications without experience can be a slowdown when your chances of getting yourself into a management post. Now, coming from university, I'm sure some of the listeners have, there's a good idea to look at graduate plans with companies. That's a great way to get experience and learning. And also you get a chance to be exposed to different areas within a business and pick an area you really enjoy. Could be production, could be technical, could be service, could be operations. By becoming a graduate, you get a chance to move around usually within the business and then pick what you really have a passion for at the end of it. So the big takeaways from today is be positive, either in the role that you are in or when you're looking for a role. Skills can easily be taught, but interest and passion and excitement are something you've got to bring to the position. And if you're in a role, deliver results. So get out there, deliver results. Experience comes from time and exposure. So get yourself in a position to get time with your leaders and managers and expose the way that you work to them so they can see that you are queued up for that next level of experience. If you want to, and you should think about it, get yourself a mentor and make your boss your advocate. Well, thanks for listening on how to get management experience, and thank you for sending that question in. I really do want to get more and more questions, so please remember to send them to the email of managermattpodcast@gmail.com. But it's now over to you. You have the context to see how you can get management experience. So, what are you waiting for? Do it. Nothing comes from nothing. Okay, that's it for Manager Matt this week. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.
Thank you so much for listening to this Manager Matt podcast. We hope you found it interesting, helpful and actionable. One last thing, please leave a quick review on iTunes or with your podcast provider, as it helps to spread the word of Manager Matt. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the podcast, and if you did like anything in particular, send an email to managermattpodcast@gmail.com or visit managermatt.co.uk for more content. Feedback is a gift, so let's keep giving. See you next week.